Hello, 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 and welcome to another SCOUTCAST brought to you by Fantasy Football Scout. It's been a while. As usual, you're joined by me, Andy, FPL Mode, and this isn't the first time this week that I've done this intro because we tried last night and it didn't work very well. But I'm looking at the moment, it seems to be doing okay. So fingers crossed, we're here for you for the evening, which is lovely. In a week of controversial postponements with the Liverpool game and also the fact that we haven't seen you for 2 game weeks, we are very, very much ready to come back with some exciting news for anybody that hasn't been on their socials today as well. We are, as always, joined by the ever lovable Nacho, who I think might have got his 7 green arrows. How's it going?
No, I'm doing very well, mate. It's always good to be on here. And as I said, I like to be a man of my word, and I didn't deliver. I promised the Scoutcast 7 greens in a row, and I only managed 6 out of the 7 game weeks. So, you can pick my punishment. If you want me here next week, I'll be here. But, I'm going to try and be a man of my word in the future game weeks.
It's disgusting. I thought I trusted you, and you promised it to me, and you gave me the hope. You got to 6 game weeks, did you?
Six. I had 5 game weeks, the red, and then we clawed it back with the green arrow.
Okay.
So it's okay. It's okay.
I'll let you off.
Thank you, my friend.
Speaking of okay, somebody that is languishing down in the overall rankings with me, Mo, we've got you back again this week because obviously Hibbo's, I don't know, off in Hawaii somewhere. We've got you back. How's it going?
I'm good. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
No.
Hibbo, where's Hibbo holidaying? He's always away, isn't he?
He's always away, that man. Always away. No, I think he's got something to do with work on. So we said, well, do you know what? We've got a very able deputy that's here. Got a green arrow, but probably not where you want to be at the moment with your rank.
No, it's been a very difficult, like we were just talking before we jumped on, very difficult start to the season. I'm hoping this last game week is maybe things are going to change for me. Let's hope so. But yeah, very difficult season. Let's see if we can push on.
Yeah, fingers crossed, mate. I mean, before we started streaming, you were like, oh, God, mate, I'm having such a bad year. And I went, I'm lower than you. And you were like, oh, God. So we've got 2 people on here tonight that are looking to make as many gains as possible over the Christmas period. And we've got Nacho, who's hoping to break the top 100K, which would be lovely as well. Please let me know. There's nobody in the chat at the moment that's saying that this stream isn't working. So fingers crossed, we are good for the evening, which is great.
We're back, baby. We're back.
Yeah. So in terms of what we're going to be talking about this evening, we have some very exciting news, which I know if you're watching this, you probably know what it is. But if you listen on the pod, you might not know, and you might only find out when you first listen to this. So we've got some exciting news for you. We're going to be looking at our points from game week 15. We're going to be looking at XA and XGI over the last 6 game weeks. We're also going to be looking at fixtures, and I have swiped a fixture graphic from under the radar. We're going to be showing you their fixture graphic, which is lovely, looking at the next kind of 6 to 7 weeks. Then we're going to be looking at captaincy matrix because it's getting tricky. I'm not going to lie. There's some weeks coming up where captaincy is tough. Then we've got our bus teams to look at, and we've also got the community team who are starting to do what me and Mo wish we could do over the next couple of weeks. So, without any further ado, let's look at the brand new, exciting information coming straight from FPL, and that is that we know what the mystery chip is now. It is no longer called the mystery chip. It is now called the assistant manager chip. Now, personally, I first saw that title and thought, brilliant, someone else is going to take over my team, but that's not what happens. From game week 24, you get to pick, and not from game week 24, by the way, you can activate it in game week 24 or whenever you like after game week 24. You can pick a manager to join your team for 3 game weeks. And basically, however they do across those 3 game weeks is how many points they earn for your team. So you can see on the screen, or if you're not watching, if you're listening on the pod, they get 6 points for a win, 3 for a draw, plus extra points for every goal scored and clean sheet. Now, there's more to it than that as well. So I'm just going to bring this up. I wrote it down earlier, and I'm just going to bring this up now to make sure that I don't miss anything, because it can be quite complicated when you really think about it. But basically, it's playable from game week 24 in January. It's active for 3 consecutive game weeks after activation. So once it's activated, you can't unactivate it. You earn points based on your chosen manager, which is everything I've said just now. You can't activate another chip while this is active. So for those 3 game weeks, as soon as you pressed it, that's it. You cannot activate your triple captain, your bench boost, your wild card, nothing. You can't select more than 3 assets from the same team. Now, that's players and manager. So if you've already got 3 Arsenal, you cannot select Arteta as your manager unless you take out an Arsenal player and then bring Arteta in. There is a budget for the manager. The manager is going to be priced between 0.5 and 1.5 million. We don't know the prices yet, but that budget or that price has to come out of your budget. So it's not an extra budget. It has to come out of your budget, whatever budget you've got at the moment. And also, if your manager faces a club ranked 5 or more places higher in the table, the rewards are even more. You get 10 extra points for a win, so 16 in total, 5 extra points for a draw, so 8 in total. Now, based on what we've seen so far this season, FPL released another graphic showing who would have been the best manager to own so far over a 3-week period, and Iraola would have been the best manager. He would have got 47 points over his 3 weeks where he beat like City, he beat Arsenal, so he would have got 47 points. Arnie Slot, for instance, would have only had 31 points over 3 weeks, but he is the top manager in terms of points overall so far this season, because obviously they've won pretty much every game. Now, I've just spoken for a really, really long time there. I'm going to hand over to Mo first, because I know, Nacho, you know, been working, obviously maybe not as quite clued up as this one, but I do want to have your opinion in a minute as well, as somebody that maybe hasn't. But Mo, what's your initial reaction to this? And what's your kind of, oh, well, this makes sense to use it then? What are you thinking?
So I've not started to think about it tactically, if I'm honest with you. I'm just trying to digest this new chip and what FPL have done. I'm still surprised. I didn't expect this, if I'm totally honest with you. I was thinking more it's going to be like we get 3 captains in 1 week. Something that's very easy for more the casual audience and gives you still a big opportunity to make, I don't know, make immediate gains, where this is gone down the line of much more strategical. Tactical is going to be difficult maybe for the casual. It might be frustrating for them actually trying to digest all what you just said a minute ago, Andy. So that's a start for me. That's my first thoughts. It's not simple and as clean as I first thought it was going to be. Now, the second part leads as well also. Where's the advantages? Not just the tactical part. All of us will be able to, in theory, get a manager, no problem. But I reckon the people that have got good team value, that have already started, I think they're going to make huge gains. So I don't know. From my perspective, that alone is frustrating me. For example, if you haven't got amazing team value like others, then this chip is a disadvantage to you. They might be able to get, like, say, Slot and have Saka, where you might want to get Slot and you'll have to have Mbumo. Just say that's a random one, but it could work out like that. So I'm not sure. I'm still digesting it, where the gains are going to be.
Yeah,
so
I feel like I feel like it's another nail in the coffin for those that didn't make the Haaland move. Because obviously a lot of people have used that Haaland money, spread their funds, and those players have all gone up in price. Whereas those Haaland owners, he's gone down below his initial price now, hasn't he? So I feel like it's a bit of a hit for them. I mean, Nacho, straight away, you know, Mo's just said it there. It's not simple. This is, and I was absolutely shocked that FPL, who can't seem to get assists right, have made this so complicated. Like, I don't know what they're doing in terms of doing this. It must be someone new at FPL Towers that has obviously kind of come up with this. But what do you think?
Yeah, I am in the exact same boat as you two. I'm really, really surprised at the difficulty of the actual chip. As you said, I thought it was going to be very, very simple for anybody to log in and just access and not even think about it. So for me, first thought is, of course, in terms of overall rank, if you are an active manager, and there, of course, are going to be managers who are just playing the opening 15 game weeks and have just had a good start but aren't necessarily active, there's going to be huge gains over them because, of course, the chip is going to be active for 3 consecutive game weeks. So that's going to be a 3 game week period where if you're an active manager, then you would expect to make some serious ground on those managers that maybe have had a bit more of a, you know, luckier start at the season possibly and haven't been as engaged. So that feels like a good position for those managers that maybe are in a bad rank right now. But I'm in the same boat really, where I don't know exactly whether it is whether I agree with it, but I like the change in terms of shaking things up. I'd probably be a bit more excited by it if I was at maybe a worse rank. I think at this rank, I'm like, oh, am I going to be a bit safe and not be as extravagant? Because, of course, with the opportunity of going for a worse team, you obviously have high rewards if you do get it right with those additional points for a win. So it's going to be interesting to see the mindset of managers when we get closer to the time, whether they just go for the safe teams or they really try and take those punts for the teams at the bottom half and try and get those 10 additional points for a win.
Yeah, I think I've got a few trains of thought. So I agree with you where I think it's a bit different. And obviously FPL is supposed to be fun. And, they've tried to make it a bit different, a bit fun. I don't think I heard anybody in the community or anybody where say this is what they wanted, if that makes sense. So they seem to have come up with it by themselves, which is interesting. I do think that it's something, like you said, different. And if you're struggling, it's, me and Mo, for instance, are looking at this and thinking, brilliant, like this is something else that could really help us jump on. In terms of the negatives for me, I hate the fact we've only found this out now. Like in terms of for a game that's planning and things like that, I think they could have easily told us this at the beginning of the season and said you can't use it till after January, and that would have been fine because you can plan for it then. Because obviously you can't do it at the beginning of the season because it's all done alphabetically, isn't it? In terms of how many points you get and all that kind of stuff in the table. So I get that, but I think that's a misstep from them personally for a game that's all about planning. The second thing, I'm and this is where I was thinking about this before I came on. Like, am I getting old now? Because I'm like, obviously, this is like a bit of a change and all that kind of stuff. But I'm playing FPL to, because of players, not because of managers. And like, I don't know. There's something in me that thinks adding even more variance to a game that's already got a fair bit of it, I think it could hurt. I would be absolutely shocked if this chip was still going on next year, if they did it again next year. I'm going to be annoyed if they do another mystery chip and we don't know what it is until January again. But we'll see what happens. I mean, Mo, straight away then, we're looking at this. Is there any, in terms of chip strategy, is there anything you're thinking, well, this kind of now makes a lot of sense moving forward? Because considering this is going to be over 3 game weeks, there's definitely going to be some strategy moving forward, isn't there?
Well, definitely. I've not started to dive into it to that level yet, but you can already start thinking you won't use it if you're going to use, for example, say your wild card triple captain on a double game week. You're not going to be able to pair both of them up, so you can't use it running over that. On bench boost, if you got that plan for another double game week, you couldn't match this with that. So you're going to have to work around to see which one's better. Does this work better in a double game week over the triple captain or bench boost? There's still a lot to unpack. I'm like you, I'm still digesting the rules, the introduction to this, and I'm surprised something this complicated came in halfway through. At the start of the season, I think it would have been no problem, but to bring it in now, I'm not sure. I think it's quite a drastic change. Like I said before, it's quite a drastic change to introduced in January. But to answer your point, Andy, no, I've not started to really look into it carefully, start planning where I can fit this in. Not yet.
Yeah. One thing I should say as well, and I don't think I mentioned this earlier, is that you can actually use your free transfers to change your manager as well over those 3 weeks. So if you start with a manager and then you want to change him, you can use one of your free transfers to do that. Now, obviously, you could get a stretch where over 3 game weeks, there's 2 double game weeks with 2 different teams. You can use one of your free transfers. You could have a stretch where we've got one team with double game weeks, whatever it is, and obviously it counts for all of those. Should also say as well that it's not really an assistant manager chip. You're really investing in the whole team. So if the assistant manager gets booked or sent off, that isn't minus points. You're investing in the team and how the team perform, basically. Nacho, again, I'm going to ask you the same question. In terms of chip strategy and stuff, what does it straight away say to you moving forward?
Oh, God. Well, I think firstly, nobody should panic because, of course, game week 24 onwards is when we can actually use it. So I think, obviously, those that have triple captains still available, it might become a bit more of a hindrance than anything else because, of course, once you activate this assistant manager chip, you are blocked out for the following 3 game weeks. So you do have that additional chip in the back of your mind where you have to think to yourself, oh, I've also got to squeeze in this triple captain chip along the way. So it's a good thing to have that available. We also need to think about when we can use it for an optimal period. I think for me, obviously, it's very difficult to have any sort of opinion on it right now, mainly because we don't actually know in 15 game weeks time when a lot of managers are talking about maybe using it around game week 30, 31, when possible double game weeks arise, who are actually going to be the teams in the bottom half who still have opportunities to beat those in the top half. Right now, Nottingham Forest are 4th, 5th, Brighton in the top half. Who knows in 15 game weeks time whether a certain team really propels up the league and others fall. So I would say nobody panic right now. We don't actually know what teams to target because it's in the future. But I'm gonna get excited by it. I'm happy to take a plunge, but I feel like a lot of managers might treat this season as almost like the COVID season, where
Yeah,
we all
asterisks.
reflect on that year as a bit of an asterisk year. And obviously, we probably say to ourselves, "Oh, I was doing so well until the chip came in." And so, be interesting to see on reflection this. But let's get excited by it. But nothing to do right now, basically, until game week 24.
Mo and I are more than happy to say this is an asterisk season. Absolutely fine.
Yeah, definitely.
If I'm looking at this straight away as well, I'm thinking the majority of engaged managers that don't watch content or copy other people, I reckon will just play this in 24. I reckon they'll get to game week 24, see the chips active and go, yep, I'm going to play that straight away. But remember as well, if there's that possibility that Liverpool get that double game week in 25, I think you've got to use your triple captaincy chip there now. I feel like if you've still got it, that's the time to use it, because you're not, like you said, it could become a hindrance later on. And I think using it then and then wait until after 30 when there's a few double game weeks for this, I feel like that's the play. When I was looking at it earlier, that seems the most obvious play at the moment, but we'll see what happens. And obviously that double game week for Liverpool could come in a little bit later than that anyway. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, very, very interesting. And like Nacho said, he hit the nail on the head. You've got weeks yet to plan for this. It's not until game week 24. So you don't need to do anything yet. It could even take you that long to understand the rules, to be perfectly honest. So just have a look at it and obviously listen to some content about it. And then hopefully by the time we get to game week 24, we'll see how we get on. It just feels a bit like a game within a game, doesn't it? It feels like a separate game, doesn't it? Yeah. It's weird.
It's got me already starting to think. Someone in the comments mentioned a good point as well. You're going to want to build up transfers around this, because you've got to navigate, you've got to free up money. Obviously, a lot of us maximize our budget for our obviously squad. So with this, it's not just one move. You can't do it just in one move, realistically. You're going to need to have money in the bank, which means you've got to transfer. So you're going to need transfers before it and transfers after it. So there's a lot that comes with it. It's not just an easy change. So yeah.
I need Sean Dyche just to see Sean Dyche managing Mo Salah in my team. It just has to be done.
I mean, I tweeted earlier saying, can you imagine getting to this point in the season and you can't afford Haaland because you had to get Eddie Howe into your team? Like,
exactly.
It's mental. Absolutely mental. Right, let's have a look at some points then. So these are my points from the last game week. I had Flecken in goal with 3. I had Hall with 1. Gabriel, who didn't play, with 0. Nobody came in for him either, because the only defender I had available on my bench was Greaves, who got 0. Lewis, who got 4 points, came on. He obviously started the game, scored the goal, and then got sent off as well, which wasn't a sending off either. Then Rodgers got 2 points. Palmer was my captain with 36 points. Saka with 2. Semenya with 2. Cunha with 1, Solanke with 6, and Chris Wood, who still continues to be my hero, with 8 points. And then I had Greaves on the bench. Now, since the last time we streamed, it's not been going that well. So I sold Mbeumo for Saka. Mbeumo obviously scored 13 points this week. I sold Isak for Cunha because Isak had Liverpool, and he obviously went off in the 22nd minute in the game before that. Cunha's obviously done nothing. Isak scored about 19 points, something like that. I also had a few pints on the Thursday night, and did Milinkovic to Trent before the game was called off. Trent didn't play, Gabriel didn't play, Greaves didn't play, Milinkovic scored against Manchester United. So I've thrown away about 20 odd points in the last 2 weeks. It's just one of those seasons. If it weren't for Palmer getting the captaincy and getting me 36 points, this would have been another one of those weeks. And I was close to Saka as well. So it's not been fun, but hopefully it's going to get better as we move forward. Now, I've obviously got Trent in my team now, which is nice. And actually a lot of people then didn't make that move, and they've now got Gabriel issues, they've got Greaves, whatever it is. So I'm glad I've got Trent already. I just wish I probably would have done it a week after and saved the transfer, but it is what it is. 65 points, up to 1.9 million. That was actually a 600k green for me after the week before that. So I will very much take it. A green is a green. Hibbo, you did even better than me though, my man. Talk us through your team.
Hibbo.
Oh,
Hibbo.
Hibbo. It's because it had Hibbo on there. Sorry.
No worries, mate.
Let's get the accent.
Yeah.
My team. Listen,
come on.
I had a really. I'm not even going to attempt that one. That's Hibbo would be on my case if I tried. But I was going to say I had a really good week, which is quite rare this season. That part you were just talking a minute ago, Andy, I was nodding and smiling because I've had a couple of weeks like that. That's how you end up in this rank. You have to have weeks like that where I think, for example, I sold Cunha the week he got the 16 points. I've produced some magic as well. But this week, thankfully, it all came in for me. So most of the players returned. Raul Jimenez, for example, when you're having a good week, where Raul Jimenez was my bench player, he came on with the 8-pointer, one shot against Arsenal, gorgeous goal, but we take it. Isak's done well for me, equivalent of your Wood, who keeps on delivering for you. The midfield is really good. They all delivered up. I was almost a little bit frustrated that Salah got injured because I was 100% going to be Palmer captain. Now, of course, this is, for all I know, Salah could have scored more. But I'm saying it in a way that loads benefited from these Palmer points and they might have not gone there. I just wanted to put that out there. So Palmer came in for me. The Mbumo as well. Could you say, was he playing right wing back and he got 13 points? I was really happy there. Defense, like you, very similar to you. I'm exactly the same defense, just apart from Trent, which I haven't gone, which could be my move this week. Defense looks in bad trouble. I've got a double Arsenal, but I've not been able to benefit from it because combination of no clean sheets or Gabriel's not playing, so that's been a problem. Lewis with that dodgy red card. I was excited when I saw that he scored. I was thinking, okay, things are looking up, but that went pear-shaped pretty quick. And yeah, overall, the team's finally looks okay. I think the majority of us all look at our team for this upcoming game week and we're looking really happy and pleased. The team looks good. Yeah. But my defense is the big problem. But yeah, just to finish, Andy, I was more than happy with this game week. Bumper game week.
80 points. Lovely time to get you on, my man. And Nacho, green arrow for you. So 6 out of 7 from the last 7 game weeks, 70 points. Talk us through it.
Yeah, 70 points. Really happy with it, considering, like I said, the week before was quite difficult. How many transfers did I have going into it? 2 free transfers, and the plan was always to roll the other transfer and get myself 3-4 game week 16. That was always the plan. And then woke up, obviously, Saturday morning to see Liverpool versus Everton getting postponed, and that just threw everything out the window because obviously Salah wasn't playing, Gabriel was a major doubt, Anderson injured, and I had originally Garnacho on my team, and I had no real guarantees that he was going to play. So I was panicking, thinking I'd have 10 men, sold Garnacho for Semenyo, and honestly, when you make a transfer, and the moment you click confirm, you instantly regret that move. It was exactly that. Yeah. I know on hindsight with Semenyo blanking, but it was just one of those where I look at him now and I've been saying for ages, I think he's massively overrated. I've just somehow ended up with him in my team. So God knows how that happened. But yeah, just running through it quickly. Fabianski with a 2-pointer. Vandenberg coming in for Gabriel. Aït-Nouri with a 4-pointer. Dallo with the 1. That's been really disappointing, Dallo. Midfield, Mbumo, really happy, kept hold of him, like a lot of managers. Palmer with the captaincy, had it original. Salah, Semenyo and Saka with 2-pointers. And my budget forwards, I've had it pretty consistent each week where one is delivered. Visser has been the man every time he plays at home. Cunha and João Pedro, disappointing. I need Hibbo next on this stream to tell him again about João Pedro and how he hyped him up too much to me. And he sold me a dream that just hasn't happened. So 70 points, happy with the week. And hopefully it continues.
Yeah, good man. No, I think I think Mo said it really nicely just a minute ago, saying that actually, although we're looking at quite a lot of our players there, and they blanked because obviously a lot of us got that Palmer massive haul with 36 points there. Our teams are looking fairly well set up moving forward, but there's obviously a few injuries now. But when we're looking at the XA and the XGI from the last 6 game weeks, so XA over the last 6 game weeks, and thank you Hibbo because he did these tables for us again. It is Son who's atop of the XA from the last 6 game weeks, which is quite interesting. 2.43 XA over the last 6. Cunha is in second, who's been fairly disappointing for the last 2 weeks. Jamie Vardy, Timo Werner, John McGinn, Milos Kerkez, Leif Davis, Saka, Tielemans, Enzo Fernandez, who is definitely on a few people's radars now, Bruno Fernandes, Palmer, Rice, Salah and Sarr. The only ones above 2 XA are Vardy, Cunha and Son. And in terms of assists, the only people that have got 3 assists on those tables are Cunha, Vardy, Saka, Bruno and Enzo. Now, Mo, I'm going to go to you first because a player that I don't think we've really spoken about at all on the Scoutcast, and now all of a sudden he's starting to come into teams because he's cheap as chips and the fixtures are there. Enzo Fernandez, do you feel like he is going to be this year's cheap midfielder that goes on a bit of a run? Like, he's playing that kind of attacking midfielder role. It feels like he could be our Gundogan from years ago, doesn't he?
Totally agree. Yeah, I've been watching him recently from afar, not getting too excited, but I was thinking, surely this can't continue because he started this scoring, well, attacking return run from like last 6 game weeks now. But recently he's come on my radar, and I do think he's starting to look like the best cheap midfielder in the game. I mean, how long is he going to continue playing in this role? Because even against Spurs, you saw that Maresca changed things up and he went into the deeper role. But the irony is that's when he scored his goal. So even there, you could argue when Chelsea push all the way up, he's still in a good position, and with his quality, can still get an attacking return. So I do like it. I have to be honest with you. He's starting to look like the player. The confidence is there. He's starting to look like the player that Chelsea paid that big money for.
Yeah.
For us as FPL managers, he enables us a lot. So a lot of us were looking, I think, Nacho just a minute ago, for example, having a go at Semenyo. Well, you could save a little bit there, or a lot of people are moving in Bumo on and going for Enzo, which means you can fix that defense. Instead of having suspect defenders like Hall, Eight Nori and stuff, you can move them up to Timbers and Trent and Van Dijks. So that money goes a long way. Plus, you can rotate him with your third attacker, whether it's Pedro, who's hit and miss, or Cunha, or Raul Jimenez. So he gives you that option, being a nice attacker. You don't mind putting on the bench because he's cheap at the end of the day. But then when you combine it with Chelsea's incredible, at least next 6 fixtures, they're ridiculous. And I do see them continuing to play like this, especially when it's the easier fixtures. When it's difficult, Maresca will, of course, change things up. Could bring in Lavia or Calcedo, sorry, and change things up. So, but for now, I like it. Definitely. I think he ticks all the boxes. And if you're looking for a cheap midfielder, apart from Semenyo and Rodgers, who have been the standout ones for us this season so far, I like Enzo, yeah.
Yeah, and Nacho, the only thing that kind of worries me a little bit about it is he completely reliant on Caicedo and Lavia playing behind him? Like, if one of them drops out, or if there's a trickier game, is that when he drops back again? Or is it something you think, actually, for the money, especially if you need to downgrade someone like Mo just said and Bumo down to get Trent, is that where the kind of beauty of his price comes in?
Yeah, I think with players at Enzo, it all comes down to managing expectations. So obviously the run that he's on right now, I think is 3 goals, 3 assists in his last 5 games or something. Like, that just isn't going to be sustainable at all. So anybody listening, watching this right now, buying Enzo thinking they're going to get a guy who's going to deliver an attacking return each and every game week, like, I just want to say, like, that isn't going to happen every week. Unfortunately, otherwise we'd all be on it. This isn't Cole Palmer of last season. But at 5 million, when I look at assets, I think to myself, well, what would I like from a 5 million asset? Similar to when we were looking at Morgan Rogers previously. So is it guaranteed minutes? I'm going to say yes. Start of the season, Maresca coming in with a new team. He was playing a lot of the time when they were available, a pivot of Caicedo and Lavia just for that physicality. But Enzo is back now, basically. Like, he is absolutely on it. In terms of actual, like, fitness, it's the first time I've actually seen him properly fit. When we bought him, he was so hard hitting in challenges and stuff, and that's kind of dipped off a lot. But recently, he's just been back at it completely, seeing really good things. Maresca's actually playing him in the position that we want to see him. Pochettino's playing him in at 10 at times. The guy needs to see the entire game always, and then he can actually start to progress up the field when he's done them big diags like he does all game. So I think there is slight concern about his positioning at times, but being captain in the absence of Reece James, playing 90 minutes over the last 4 weeks on set pieces like corners, I think it ticks all the boxes. And amazing long-term fixtures. I think it's a no-brainer. If you're looking to downgrade a midfielder right now, I know it seems a bit bandwagon, but I think Enzo's the one to go for. I mean, 5 million, you save 0.4 on Morgan Rogers, and you're getting the captain of Chelsea right now, who has lots of different avenues to points. But just remember, he ain't going to get points every week.
Yeah.
Should add to it as well. Sorry, Andy, just to say, Chelsea's the best attack in the Premier League. This has been the Chelsea's, I think their goal ratio currently at the moment is their best in their Premier League history of how many goals they're scoring at the moment. They are flying. So we need to put that in there as well. When you put that with the fixtures, like you said, Nacho, I like it.
Yeah,
I know
I will. Yeah. Maresca will change up at times. Yeah,
yeah, and we've been looking for that third Chelsea asset because obviously you've got Jackson there, you've got Palmer. They seem to be the two we talk about all the time. We've said for quite a while that the defence can't really trust it moving forward, and so if Enzo Fernandez come in, and the fact he's 5 million, that's the thing. Like, and downgrading someone to be able to get a Trent or be able to go up to an Isak or something like that, it seems like a kind of no-brainer there, but. Someone that doesn't seem like a no-brainer, and I swear it's just because of his age, but I don't know why people aren't going for him. 2.0 XA over the last 6 game weeks, and he seems to be doing well. Jamie Vardy, Mo. Why are we're all going for Pedros and Cunhas, the sexy Brazilian picks? Jamie Vardy's there. When he plays, he scores. Like, he's literally doing it so often, getting the assists. He's still doing what he was doing all those weeks. Don't get me wrong, X minutes are obviously going to be a little bit lower because he is about 48 now. But why does nobody go for someone like Jamie Vardy, who has proven that he doesn't need a lot of chances? Even when he was at his peak, he didn't need a lot of chances. Why aren't we going for someone like him?
I think it's personally because of Leicester and how poor they've been. I think the majority of the other cheap options like Wood, Forest are flying, Jimenez, Fulham are flying, Pedro, Brighton are flying. So you're getting a cheap forward, but they're getting a superior team. A superior team's always going to create more chances, have, more potential of winning games. Where we've looked at Vardy and Leicester being struggling all season. I know you're going to say to me, Cunha. Look how high up he is, for example.
Yeah.
He's the different one in this. So you could say. But that's the only reason I can think of, because I actually rate Vardy highly. I really like him. Maybe this new manager bounce now. Maybe Ruud van Nistelrooy is going to get him, flying again. Because I'll tell you what, that assist was just as gorgeous as a goal.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. I was watching it thinking, oh, is he going to go? And then he just puts it sideways. Love that. So to answer your question, I just think, Andy, it's because the other options play for better teams. It's as simple as that. And we've just not considered him. And maybe maybe we should be considering him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, someone I am considering, Nacho, and who's fast becoming one of my favourite players in the league, is Milos Kerkez for Bournemouth. 1.73 XA over the last 6 game weeks. Their fixtures look very, very good, and people are going to be looking at a Gabriel in their team and thinking, I might need to go down. They might be looking at a Lewis and thinking, I need to go down. Is Milos Kerkez in your thoughts at all?
Yeah, I actually do like Milos Kerkez. So I think with Bournemouth, again, I feel like they are a little bit of a difficult team to predict at times. Away from home, and I think they always do step up in those big home games. Now, I'm looking at their fixtures right now. West Ham at home in game week 16, which looks great because West Ham look good. I'm going to say I don't think this is a great fixture for Bournemouth in terms of defensive assets, but I think West Ham are one of those teams as well we can put in that category of we just have no idea what team is going to turn up each and every game week with the manager situation right now. But what I do like about Kerkez is I think there are very obvious game weeks where you can bench him and feel very comfortable about it. So we've got West Ham you play, Man United away, you could bench. Then we've got Fulham away in game week 19, you could bench. And then in game week, I believe 21 is away against Chelsea. So I don't think Kerkez is the player that we buy in right now, and he would have to sit in my team each and every week. I don't think there is going to be the returns. But if you can find a nice rotation along the way, maybe like a Fulham asset, if we get the understanding that Anderson's back, he actually rotates really well with Kerkez. And I think that's not a bad combination to have as we progress. For example, game week 17, when Kerkez is away against Man United, someone like Ant Anderson or Robinson has Southampton at home. So I don't mind that sort of combination going forward.
I could be wrong here, but I think they rotate really well with Palace as well. So if you wanted to invest in like a Munoz and then a Kerkez as well, I think they rotate really nicely too. So that's obviously worth having a little bit of a look at as well. But Anthony Robinson, I mean, he's been at the beginning of the season, he was a must-have, wasn't he? So I think with Fulham's fixtures, that could be quite nice. But we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. Now, this is the XGI table from over the last 6 game weeks, and Erling Haaland is still on the top there. Cole Palmer is now very, very close to Haaland. Obviously, those penalties are helping him at 4.8 over the last 6 game weeks. Then Son in third and Dominic Solanke in fourth with 4.04. Obviously got me a goal at the weekend. And then under 4, you've got Mo Salah, Ollie Watkins, Evan Nielsen, John McGinn, Vardy, again, we've mentioned already, Mateta, and then Cunha. And then we've got Trossard, Isak, Delap, and Shader, who's at the bottom there. We're not going to mention Cole Palmer. I think Cole Palmer, if you don't have him already, I think he's got to be your priority transfer in. Dominic Solanke, though, Mo, I mean, again, they got a nice fixture this week against Southampton, but it all seems to be turning a little bit with Ange now. We've spoken about Solanke a few times on this pod already. I've got him in my team. Do you just hold him because of the fixtures? I mean, you wouldn't be buying him now, would you?
Nah, he's. I don't even own him, and he's frustrated me because Spurs' attacking numbers have been very good. We know Ange plays a very attacking style of football, but for some reason, it's all going around Dominic Solanke. I'm not quite sure. I can tell you my experience with him. I started the season with him. I thought he was a great price. good fixtures. I kept him. He got no points. And then the game I was getting excited about, Everton, he got injured. So that's the reason I've never gone back. It's still in the memory there. But for owners like you now, you could easily just stick with him, but you definitely won't be jumping on now. I wouldn't, especially with things that Spurs look a little bit. They're not toxic. That's too harsh, but they're getting close. Honestly,
Away
another
support
couple.
was.
Yeah, no, definitely has been there. You saw when what game was it? Not the last one against Chelsea, the one before. It's just, yeah, things don't look right there. I wouldn't be going there. He doesn't do it for me. I think there's cheaper forwards. To be fair, I think like even I'd have preferred Raul Jimenez. Maybe not the Liverpool fixture. You have to wait for that to go. But after that, I'd even prefer him.
Yeah, and I mean, we were all singing Cunha's praises not that long ago, Nacho. But all of a sudden, it's all starting to go a little bit sour. Got booked at the weekend as well, so only got 1 point. Wolves, Gary O'Neill's definitely going to be there in the next game in El Sacico. They obviously lost that game, and Cunha didn't do a lot. You're looking at it, and all of a sudden, Wolves are appearing to be that team we know them to be, which is quite poor, to be perfectly honest. We're looking at Cunha. He's not cheap. He's not a cheap forward option. He's 7 million, and you're looking at him and thinking, is it about time we're looking to get him out of our team? Because the fixtures aren't drying up yet, but in about 3 weeks they do. So what are we thinking about Cunha?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I think when we brought in Cunha, he obviously was on fire. So I'm looking at his returns right now. I think we all started to jump on around like game week 9, game week 10, where he got his 12-pointer against Southampton, his 16-pointer against Fulham. But when I look back at some of his goals, a lot of them are just absolute baller finishes, aren't they? They are just gifted sort of finishes that not many other players can do. And you start to reflect on yourself and think, are we just buying a guy who scores bangers and they aren't naturally going to happen each and every game week? So the more I think about it, the more I think, oh, were we just buying Cunha on the vibes? Because I'm looking at the underlying numbers over the last few weeks, and they're not fantastic at all. But when I think about Cunha, he's very much a creative player, but that also is very beneficial for him being on the bonus points. So if he gets any sort of attack and return, he is going to be gobbling up those bonus points. And for me, it comes down to a similar situation to Brian Mbeumo, where yes, a player can be frustrating, but you've got to play the fixtures. And with Ipswich at home and Leicester away, who are just conceding so many chances under Van Nistelrooy, I think it's perfectly fine to keep Cunha for the next 2 weeks and then look to pivot away in game week 18 when they start to go on a bit more of a trickier run. However, I don't mind it if managers are just done with Cunha and they can get to Alexander Isak. That would be the only move I would consider getting Cunha out for.
Is Isak essential over this Christmas period then?
Well, I was going to ask you boys that because I do not own him, and I am looking at the fixtures. Leicester at home, Ipswich and Villa, and I'm thinking, oh my God, what am I doing with my team?
I'd be scared to go in with those fixtures without him.
It feels scary, doesn't it?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, even on Newcastle, I've been a bit Jekyll and Hyde, a little bit random, but everything goes through him. And people forget the last game week, he should have scored the other goal as well. Remember, he went around the goalkeeper and for some reason took his time, and the keeper came and took it off his feet. But he's dangerous, class player. From when he's fit, I do like him. Yeah, I'm more than happy to go into these game weeks with Isak. I want essential. I'm not sure if I'm going to say that, but yeah, very close to.
I do.
Isak does that, yeah.
I don't know, though. I mean, obviously Wilson's out. So in terms of is he going to get a rest over the Christmas period, it's looking unlikely unless they play Gordon up top, which they've done before. But the only thing I will say is, and you just said it about Cunha, you look at Isak's goal against Liverpool, absolute screamer of a goal. And obviously the XG wouldn't have been that high for that one either. And he is quite low down on this table in terms of, XGI over the last 6 game weeks. I am going to say that he's going to underwhelm over the Christmas period because I think people are putting him extremely high in their predictions in terms of how he's going to do, and I don't think he is going to hit the heights of what people think. I'm just going to say that now. Not because I sold him 2 weeks ago. Not because I sold him 2 weeks ago.
Don't forget, Andy, his XG would have been higher, but that shot, he didn't have the shot where he was 1v1. That would have been much higher, so he might have become on your radar. But when you mentioned Cunha, I'm sure in the last 3 games, I can't remember the last game, but the 2 games before then, he had 2 shots in each. They were both from outside, far outside the area. Like Nacho said, you're expected a world-class goal. He's a quality player, and I really, really like him. But with Isak, he does get into the box. And he's not the type of player to try smack it from 30 yards because he's got such good dribbling. He looks to ghost into the box. So yeah. I'm happy to have him.
And then looking at the fixtures over the next 6 game weeks. So this is get from game week 16 to 21, and this is ordered in terms of difficulty. Chelsea are on the top. They've got teams like Brentford, Fulham at home, Bournemouth at home, and then they've also got Ipswich, Crystal Palace and Everton away. Liverpool are second. If you haven't got Mo Salah yet, what are you doing? Then Man City in third. That's probably why you don't have Mo Salah yet, because you got Haaland. Haaland's obviously got Man United at home up next, who historically has been very, very good hunting ground for him. Then you got Arsenal in fourth, Newcastle in fifth, hence why we're talking about Isak. Bournemouth in sixth, then Southampton, and then Wolves. All the way down the bottom there, you got Everton, Leicester, who that's probably why people aren't investing in Vardy, Brentford, which is why a lot of people are getting rid of Mbeumo, and then West Ham, Man United are also towards the bottom there as well. Now, I wasn't going to look at this bit for too long today. This is available on in the Scout members area, so make sure you do have a look if you get a chance. But I also wanted to show this one here from under the radar. So this is a graph here from under the radar, which is showing the team attack and fixture difficulty in game week 16 to 19 and in game week 20 to 23. So basically, along the x-axis, you've got opponent accumulated XGC from 16 to 19, so how easy it is to play against those teams from 16 to 19. And along the y-axis, you've got between 20 and 23, so how easy it is to play against those. And what you're basically looking for, the teams you're going to be wanting to invest in short-term and long-term, are going to be in the top right-hand corner of this graph. When you're looking in the top right-hand corner of this graph, it is Newcastle that are way above anybody else. So they're basically their short-term and their long-term fixtures look lovely from an attacking sense. Now, remember, that's what we're thinking about. We're not thinking about defensively. We're thinking about the XGC that their opponents have put up so far this season. Now, there's lots of other narratives that go along with that, but basically what they're saying is Newcastle should score some goals, short-term and long-term. You've also got City and Liverpool that are there as well, who we might have already invested in, especially Liverpool. Arsenal and Forest are around there. The teams that I find really, really interesting on this graph are Fulham, who are incredibly high up here in terms of game week 20 to 23. They seem to be a really big fixture swing that's coming up soon. And Crystal Palace also seem to be here as well. Now, Mo, I was going to ask you about Fulham first, and then Nacho, I'll come to you about Palace, because I know you've mentioned Jimenez already, Mo. Fulham seem to be that team that we could potentially invest in soon, not straight away, but soon. If we are going to invest in then soon, who is it that's kind of standing out for you as players that we might be able to invest in, thinking, medium term?
So the standout one is Raul Jimenez, albeit you have to have the caveat that he is a 75 to 80 minute player. So if you're on a 90-minute player, you're going to have to be careful here, because that's what started to frustrate me. I've had him for a little while now, and he was playing incredible, putting up the numbers, missing loads of chances, But I kept faith with him, and he gave me a nice one against Arsenal this game week. But he's really, really good. Even with Muniz back, Muniz gets a substitute appearance. I think at the moment, Raul Jimenez is the main guy. So from attack, he's my favourite. I think one of the defenders, like you two touched on, would be good. Robinson, unless what's the cheap? Got his name now. It's gone from my head. Yeah, thank you very much. He's gone to, was it 4.2? Was it 4.3? Yeah. It's a bargain. So if he's back and we know he's going to be back in the team, that's lovely as well. From midfield, there's a couple of options there, but I'm not tempted. I wouldn't be getting into triple Fulham territory. I don't think, I'm not that confident, albeit they're that high up. So Jimenez for the attacker and maybe Robinson for the defender. That's where I'm at with Fulham.
Do you think if you were going for a midfielder, do you think Smith Rowe is still the easy pick? Because I've been saying, Nacho really likes Smith Rowe. This was weeks ago now, and I was saying that I was quite worried about his minutes, and it's come up that actually his minutes are still a bit of a worry. Would you be going for Smith Rowe still, or do you think Iwobi might be kind of pipping him to the post now?
I think Iwobi, if we go on recently, like Iwobi's been doing really, really well. Smith Rowe's gone a bit quiet. He was the pick for us at the start of the season. We all rate him. He's a good player, and he's shown it already this season. I'm not quite sure why Smith Rowe's numbers have completely gone down. They've got so many options in midfield, but Iwobi could be I think, is he cheaper than Smith Rowe as well? Am I right? Have I got the...
I'm not sure, actually. I think he is.
Exactly. Yeah. I've forgotten the price. I haven't got it in front of me as well. But Iwobi could be a short-term punt as well. But as I said to you, I'm going to stick to the reason I've not looked into detail. The midfield at the moment, we're so fully packed in there, Andy, with Saka, Palmer, Salah, and then one cheap one. If that's Enzo or Semenyo or Rodgers, there isn't a space. and I'm not going to break it for a Wolby, even with their fixtures or Smith Rowe. So that's the reason I've not really looked at that in detail, where there is a spot for my third attacker, hence why Jimenez is and there's a spot in my defense. So that's the reason for that.
Yeah, fair. And Nacho, we got Palace here as well. I feel like Palace is a team that a lot of people will be like, why would I want to invest in them? But I feel like when we get to this fixture swing, people will start doing it. Is it the kind of, household names that we'd be investing in?
Yeah, I feel like Palace is quite an easy one for us to invest in terms of the players. I don't think we really have to get too creative with it. I think if you're going for the defence, I think it's Munoz or nobody really, because he really is getting forward in those.
Mitchell? What about Mitchell? Come on.
Wow, yeah, Mitchell actually, well,
Mitchell.
he's cheaper. He's more expensive, 4.8.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I think, I'm going to kill that one off, mate. I'm going to say
Cool.
Munoz.
Thank you.
But Munoz, I think, classic recency bias. We're all talking about how he is like the next Cafu, but we know from last season previously, he actually got into some great attacking areas, and we're seeing it now again under a Crystal Palace team that feel like they're slowly starting to turn a corner in these tricky fixtures that they have had. So I'm hoping that by the time we get to these great fixtures for Palace, we have a bit more confidence in both the manager and the team. So I love Munoz as a pick, but again, not one to invest in right now. Eze, this guy's class. He's going to come good eventually. His numbers are always fantastic. His shot volume is great. Coming back from injury, so I can't really judge him right now. But I watched him in one of the games. I think it was Ipswich, and when a guy just levels above everyone else on the pitch. The only problem with Eze is just like he looks great. Sometimes the output isn't there, and it's Mateta. And Mateta at 7.2 million could be an interesting swap from someone like Acuna if you wanted to go there, and you already have an Alexander Isak in your team, for example. He's great option, but again, been underwhelming this season, but I'm willing to give him a benefit of doubt because Palace in general have been pretty poor. And all of these players are like less than 10% owned. So it could be quite an interesting time to jump on Palace around then.
Yeah, I think so. And very quickly, Nacho, before I come off this, is it Isak or bust for Newcastle with them being so far away in that table there?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's Isak or bust. I think Gordon's nice, but can play on the right at times. I think that diminishes his potential in the team.
Right, moving on to the captaincy matrix then. So, there's a reason we've been telling you to get on these midfielders, because Saka, Salah and Palmer, the fixtures are just absolutely ridiculous. And if you're looking at captaincy, you're basically going to be captaining one of them over the next, 5 to 6 game weeks. It does get a little bit more interesting in game week 18 and 20 when Haaland has Everton at home and West Ham at home. And he's also got Leicester away in 19 as well. But I don't think it's going to be an awful lot of people still holding on to Haaland by then anyway. If we're looking at captaincy for this week, we've got Saka at home to Everton. We've got Salah at home to Fulham. We've got Watkins away to Nottingham Forest, although he is a little bit of a slight injury risk at the moment. Picked up a knock playing in Europe. Then we've got Son away to Southampton, Palmer at home to Brentford, and Isak at home to Leicester. There's 4 there. Saka, Salah, Palmer, Isak, I think could be absolute front runners, and that is without even mentioning Haaland, who, like I said, has absolutely demolished Manchester United before. So, Mo, I'm going to go to you first. Saka, Salah, Palmer, Isak, Haaland. Who is it for you?
I love weeks like this. I should start off by saying that when there's actually options, the swings could be huge, and especially for me and you, Andy, we need this. So we need to get these right, to be honest. So I like Palmer. It's a shame. I think a lot more of he'll be quite high because of what he done last week. You know how FPL works. People just remember last week. I do like Palmer. I do like the way I've got faith in Chelsea's attack, and I don't have faith in Brentford's defense. That combination makes me excited. Salah is Salah, isn't it? He's been doing magic all season, and he's not going to. Fulham have been incredible. They're not going to stop him. But I will be honest, it does put him second for me just because of Fulham faster period than Brentford. But they're all, like you just said, they're all viable options. For me, if you're asking my opinion, who I'm going with currently, Palmer. I've not even considered. I'm comfortable there.
Yeah. What about you, Nacho?
Wow, we spoke about it before the stream that I feel like Saka is a really kind of slept on pick for this game week. Now, I see a few
tonight,
people,
by the way, 2 goals and assists.
Balling tonight. And I can just envisage that kind of just like brace and goal again in this game week against Everton, who I think on the road just give opportunities for the team. I think Arsenal look to bounce back off that after that Fulham draw. In another world, that's an okay result, but for them, they know they need to really kind of double down in this Everton fixture. I think the natural default out of fear is going to be Mo Salah against Fulham. I see a few people putting up numbers about Fulham's away form being really, really good. I think they're top for expected goals conceded per 90 or something. They're looking really good. But you look at the fixtures that they've played away from home, all of them are pretty easy. You know, you've got like people like Palace, Everton, Ipswich, you know, so not the hardest game. So I wouldn't look too much into that. So yeah, I think Salah is going to be by default a lot of people's pick. But I love Saka as an option. Will I go there? Probably not. I probably will go on Mo Salah still.
Does it make you think sometimes as well, Nacho? Like if you went Saka, and don't get me wrong, you're going to try and pick the captain that scores the most points. But if you went Saka, you own Salah and Palmer, and they're going to hurt you, even though you own them. Does that come into your think? I know it shouldn't, but you know, something like that when you own all three, and if you went Saka there, like straight away, Palmer and Salah hurt you.
Yeah, 100%. Like I feel like people who don't confess to it probably are not looking at it like actively. But I think anybody that uses, you know, the sites will know that the moment they don't captain someone like a Salah or Palmer and they're over 100%, you are basically praying for them to blank. And that is quite a horrible way to play the game sometimes. So yeah, I agree. If we go Saka this week, you basically are praying that both Palmer and Salah blank, which is a really unusual situation to be in. And by default, especially at my rank right now, I think maybe just being safe and allowing the others around your captain to deliver is probably the way to play. If I was being aggressive, then I think it would be Saka this week.
Yeah. Mo, I'm completely with you. I think Palmer. I think Fulham and Everton, I can see them being able to organise themselves defensively at times. Yeah. Brentford just can't. Brentford is so bad at the back. And it's like, I was watching them at the weekend, and obviously I got Flecken in goal. And it was just watching it and thinking, they're not going to keep clean sheets. And I'm just looking at that fixture and just thinking, Palmer obviously rested again midweek. Salah's played, Saka's played, Palmer hasn't. I just think that screams to me that he's the one to go for. But like we just said then, we weren't punished by Salah last week because he didn't play.
Yeah.
But every other week you don't go with Salah, he seems to do something. So obviously he didn't play last week. Is he going to come back with a bang this week, Mo?
He's, as I said to you, Salah at the moment is playing. He's on another level. Even games where he's not there, he'll turn up for 7 minutes, 5 minutes, goal, assist. Excuse me. That's what he's been doing this season. So why shouldn't we expect that against Fulham? So I can see why Nacho was saying a lot of people just default to him because he is the standout player in the Premier League. That's in Europe at the moment. He's actually formidable. And he's even starting to get penalties recently just to make things even worse if you go against him. Yeah, exactly. So nothing wrong with that move, as well as Fulham are going to be so well organised. Slot, he's been super organised. This Liverpool team is formidable. I watched them again yesterday in Champions League. Not a great performance and still won 1-0. Yeah. It's a relentless machine. Fulham are going to struggle at Anfield, but they are an annoying team. Silva's done a great job there. That's the reason I like Palmer. I just like what Maresca's done with this Chelsea attack. I think it's going to be too difficult for Brentford to live with them. Chelsea's got just too much firepower. Maybe, I won't say more than Liverpool, but just so much going on up top. I like the dynamics there. Yeah, I like it, man. I think Palmer for me is a easy captain.
In their respective fixtures, I mean, Chelsea could get 5 against Brentford. That game could be 5-2, couldn't it? Like, it could be absolutely ridiculous. Like, I'm expecting Brentford to score against them because they've got Wissa, they've got Mbumo, whatever it is. But like that could be anything. But then we've said this before: Liverpool could win 2-0. Salah gets goal and assist again, or 2 goals, whatever. You know, so it's going to be a tough one this week.
We should mention. Sorry, I need to interrupt you. I was going to say we should mention actually. There's me and you talking up Palmer and Chelsea. Yeah. They haven't beaten Brentford.
Yeah,
Brentford. I think haven't Brentford beaten him 5 times in a row. So we have to put that in there as well. And it's a different team, different manager. I know, but still, that has to be there. So Brentford will go there with confidence. They'll have the history if that means anything.
7 p.m. kickoff though.
Yeah, I love the fact, by the way, you said confidence because that's when I bring my team up. So this is my team here going into the game week. This is my best team. I got Flecken in goal against Chelsea. Then I've got Hall, Gabriel, and Trent. I'll talk to you about Gabriel in a minute. Then I've got Saka, Salah, Palmer, and Semenyo in the middle with Cunha, Solanke, and Wood up top. I'm very happy with that front 7, to be perfectly honest. And then I've got Greaves, Lewis, who's suspended, and then Rodgers on the bench as well. I've got 1 free transfer and 0.4 in the bank. Now, so Gabriel, I've been hearing loads of different things. Obviously, he wasn't even on the bench tonight, wasn't in the squad at all. There's still a chance he could play at the weekend. I don't want to lose Gabriel because I want him. I want him through this period over Christmas. We haven't really heard anything as to why it could be happening. There's kind of people saying that it could be concussion protocol and he's out for the 10 days, which means he'll be available again at the weekend. I think I'm going to keep him, and I think it's Lewis I'm going to get rid of. And I'm almost certain my move is going to be Lewis to Kirkez, because I like Kirkez. I think he's great moving forward. I think they've got the fixtures Bournemouth have, and I think that'll be it. Hall is obviously there already. They've got the longer term fixtures. I can't get to Timber from Lewis because Timber's like 1 million more. And I've already got Trent, obviously. So I feel like Lewis to Kirkez will most likely be my move. I quite like it as a move. I feel like, I know I've already got Semenyo, but that doesn't matter to me. So I feel like that's probably going to be my move. And then I will play Gabriel this week and have Kirkez first on my bench, because I think if Gabriel misses out, he misses out completely. So that's where I think I am. If Gabriel was playing and we knew he was going to play, I'd roll, because I don't think I need to do anything with this team. But with the doubt with Gabriel, I feel like Lewis to Kirkez is the move. I don't think I can do Greaves up to Kirkez. I could do Greaves to Hoyson, because I know Hoyson's going to be playing now because Senesi's out. So that's an option. But I like Kirkez more. So those are the things. And obviously Lewis, he's just been terrible to own, hasn't he? So yeah, that's where I am. Any thoughts, boys? There's not too much, hopefully, with this team because it's not looking too bad.
I think the team looks really good. It's a shame if Fulham didn't have Liverpool, Robinson could have been an option as well. Like we spoke about, we do like Fulham, organised really well. He's been good, but yeah, I think that's the only option you've got available to you. Greaves, you're like me. He's a problem for us, Andy, because albeit normally third on the bench, we don't mind too much. But during this Christmas period and the amount of injuries and rotation we've had, we might need him. And the manager not putting him on a bench because he doesn't like a centre-back on the bench is very strange, considering he's fully fit. So that one's bugging me as well. I've got the same issue. We'll come to my team in a minute. But yeah, your team looks good. I think the move you suggested, yeah.
Yeah, Greaves, before he was injured, he was their best player. He was saying he was one of their best players. And obviously Burgess came in, did well. Greaves came back in straight away and then was obviously not in the team the next week. I'd be shocked if Greaves wasn't a mainstay again. But obviously Burgess done all right. But it's not great, like you said, for a player that we want to be able to play some minutes over the Christmas period.
Yeah.
But there you go. I almost said it then. It's because I've still got Hibbo's name down there. Mo, talk us through your team, my man. You've got a similar Gabriel issue.
So let me bring my team up. So first, I've got currently Sales in goal against Aston Villa at home. Then I've got double Arsenal, so Timber and Gabriel and Hall currently starting. I would be more than happy with that front three if I knew Gabriel, like you said, was going to be a definite, but there's big question marks. I read just before jumping on stream, but I can't verify it. There's a muscle issue or something, but Arteta's not going to tell us, so we're relying on leaks or outside sources giving us more information there. But that's starting to frustrate me now. That's a £6 million plus player for the last 2 game weeks that's been on the bench.
It's not great, is it?
It's not great at all. So it's really annoying me that I've doubled up on Arsenal. I've not had the opportunity to exploit that. So that's the defense. Midfield, I've gone for a 5 of midfield. So Salah, Palmer, Bumo, Saka, and Semenyo, and Isaac and Pedro up top. The bench is Fabianski, Raul Jimenez, Greaves, and Lewis. So I've got 2 free transfers. And how much have I got in the bank? Let me check here. I should be more prepared. Let me show you. So I've got 0.4. I'm not exactly great. So the two permutations I had in my moves, actually, there was one stage I was thinking about this. So in Mbumo to Enzo, and then believe it or not, just hear me out here, so Raul Jimenez to Jackson. I was trying to think that would be a differential because a lot either have Jackson or Isaac. And I was thinking, do I go both of them and try to really eat up those points in attack? But then not just the goal against Arsenal, but the fixtures after. And then, like you said on that chart, where Fulham are poised, they're playing really well. And for his price, 75 minutes, 80 minutes, surely I keep him and rotate with the 5th midfielder. So that's gone on the back burners. The more likely moves are in Mbumo to Enzo still, and free up money to get one of the cheap defenders. I'm not sure, like you actually, whether actually it has to be one talking about, it has to be Lewis to get Trent. So the move you done last week. So that's where I'm at the moment. But that still doesn't leave me in the best position. So I'd haul, oh yeah, Trent and Timber. Okay, so if Gabriel didn't play, I'd still have 3. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking at the moment.
The
What do you
Trent
think,
move
guys?
sounds good. Trent move sounds good. I think Jackson's fun, but I mean, Nacho, I was going to ask you about Jackson. Is there a bit of an issue with Jackson?
In terms of game time?
In terms of, wasn't he saying a few comments after the game and it looked like there was a bit of trouble in paradise?
He was upset, wasn't he? Really
Yeah,
upset.
I think it's one of those really where sometimes you just look at it and think some people actually quite like it because it's showing the passion and clearly didn't want to come off and stuff. So I think it's absolutely fine. He's really important to Maresca's team. I still don't think he fully trusts in Kunku as a forward. I don't think he can do the things Jackson can. So I think Jackson will be fine. But of course, 4 yellow cards, 1 away from a ban, have to take that into our consideration a little bit as well. And who knows, get 1 game ban and Kunku comes in, scores, might reward him with another start. So that always has to be in the back of the mind.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, I like the Trent move, mate. I think that's really good. And if I'm looking at your forward line, you're going to want Raul in a couple of weeks, like you've said anyway.
Yeah.
And with Greaves and Lewis just sat there, and Gabriel obviously an issue as well, I think you've got to make a move for your defence personally. So I think that Trent move's good.
What do you guys think of the starting which goalkeeper? Sales against Aston Villa at home or Fabianski versus Bournemouth? Or is that even a no? Sales is easy, isn't it? Yeah.
Villa played midweek. Watkins could be a doubt as well. Obviously, Duran might play, but I think that's an easy one. Yeah, but Forest are good at home as well, aren't they?
Yeah. Forest been excellent this season. Yep.
Yeah. And then Nacho, moving on to your team, my man. Do you know what? When you sent through your team, I know obviously we always spoke about your wild card was being a bit later. That triple Brentford and that United defender is starting to look a little bit patchy.
Yeah. Yeah. This was always the problem going for this team. So Dallow's just been bloody awful, really. Honestly, what was I thinking? Someone must have spiked me at the time. So I'm just thinking about my team right now, and just to read through it quickly for obviously those listening. Got Sells at home against Villa. I've got a similar situation with Fabianski. More than happy to play Sells for that game. 8 Nori at home against Ipswich, absolutely fine. Gabriel, similar boat to everyone else. And Dallo currently starting away against Man City, not ideal. Midfield 5, Saka, Mbuemo, Palmer, Semenyo, Salah, and João Pedro and Cunha. So front 2 look great. In terms of my bench, not so. So I got 2 free transfers, and I think I got about 1.7 million. Now, I really need to ask this question because I think it'd be also really relevant for those that are watching this and all. I have a bit of a decision to make with this team. I can either go for a Trent team or I can go for an Alexander Isak team. So that's the current position I'm in. So I could do Dallo to Trent, and then I could do Visser to Raul, and that would be my move. Bench Raul this week, bring him in for game week 17. Or what I can do is do Visser to Isak, and then I could do Mbuemo down to someone like an Enzo, for example. The problem with the Isak team, it doesn't help my defense, which is a problem right now. So I'll be interested in what you two think. Like, do you think the priority for someone who doesn't have either, which one do you think is more of the priority over the next 5 game weeks, for example?
I mean,
Go on, Andy.
I was going to say the problem is with defenders, they've ruined defenders, haven't they? So although we're talking about Trent, I mean, Mo already had Isak, so the fact that he could have both is lovely. I just feel like they have kind of ruined, defenders a little bit. So you do need to probably work on your defence, but in terms of who's going to get you the most points moving forward, it'd probably be Isak, wouldn't it? In terms of the bonus, the fact he's on penalties, the fact he only has to get 1 and he's getting bonus above, a defender that's get you an attack in return. He's probably got more ability to get points moving forward. The only thing I will say is that Wissa's fine as well. I know the fixtures are drying up, but if you had to play Wissa, I think that's fine too. Like, he's a player that has become the talisman for Brentford, and I don't think that's a bad option to have. Whereas in your defence, you got Anderson, who's not going to play. Dallow's awful. Like, Trent is a massive upgrade on those players. So there's both sides of those there. I just think if I had to choose one or the other now, Trent or Isak, who's going to score the more points over, it's going to be Isak, I think. But I don't know what Mo thinks.
I'm going to come and mess your mind up, Nacho, because I'm going to go against that and say, I'm going to say you need to fix that defense. You're like me, you're looking at the potential up top, and it's always more fun buying an attacker. And potential, as Andy said, there's much more potential points for us there. But that defense is looking ropey, especially with Gabriel. If Gabriel was 100% at starting, I'll be honest with you, you could just suck it up and think, you know what, I'll go for it this week. But it's not looking, you might have no Gabriel And then Dalot,
Yeah.
like you've already said about him. And Eight Nori, my goodness. Wolves can't get you need him to return. He needs to be Roberto Carlos. He spoke earlier on about someone he needs to return every week for you to get 4 points. So
Yeah.
it's not good that defense. So I think the priority's got to be there for the long term. Just like you need to fix that. I don't see that change. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that
Definitely.
needs to be that. I think that's where the money needs to go, mate. Although it's not as fun as having Isaac. Looking at my team and I see Isaac this week, I am excited.
Yeah. I can get Virgil van Dijk and Isak for a -4 though, so that's one to debate.
Okay.
Ooh, like it.
That's one to debate.
Right, let's have a look at the community team. Community team got 73 points this week. Flecken in goal with 3, Lewis with 4, Ola Aina with 1, Dean with 1, Saka with 2, Palmer with 36, and Boomer with 13, Semenyo with 2, Wood with 8, Jackson with 2, and Cunha with 1. They had a 400k green arrow from 1.1 million to 700k. So fair play getting back into the top mill. They rolled the transfer as well. Fair play rolling the transfer with Mo Salah, Gabriel and Greaves all missing out for you. So they've got 2 free transfers going into game week 16. Now, I'm not going to lie, community team. I'm looking at this team. I'm thinking, don't know why you got Palmer. Move him down. So definitely sell him. You got Saka there as well. You only got your 2 points last week. I'll get rid of him. He's going to be tired after midweek. Those are 2 free transfers straight away you can use. So no, it's looking good, community team. Fair play to you. Gutted you had Wood still, because I thought I was the only one person who still had him. So fair play to you. It's back inside the top mill. I'd be more than happy to be joining you next week. Hopefully, me and Mo will be there at some point.
So. Hopefully.
I hope so. Right, let's go back to the intro screen. We can have a few questions now. Thank you so much, by the way, if you've joined us this evening. We know Black Box was on. They're probably still going. Thank you so much as well if you've joined us instead of watching some of the Champions League games, which, by the way, look like absolute bangers of fixtures based on what I've seen from the results popping up on my screen. But chuck in some questions for us now, and you've got about 5 minutes, and we will answer as many of your questions as possible.
There was one there for me I saw.
Regarding
can I do Mbumo to Enzo, because I was talking about the permutation, and Lewis to Trent, I think. And I can. That's one of the moves we discussed. And it leave me with 0.4.
Yeah, I like that. That was FPL Mackham as well, saying similar to you, Mo, would you sell Bruno to get Enzo and then Greaves to Trent?
Yeah. That's a simple one for me. I still think that Man United team needs a lot of work. I rate Bruno highly, even the new manager. I see what he's trying to do, but watching them the other day, they're in bad trouble, man. They need they look like they need at least well, sorry, Andy, you don't want to hear this. It's your team, isn't it? But
it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, they're in trouble. No.
Yeah. But Mo, you've just put in a super chat for us for $1.99, saying 3.7 million in the bank. Do I sell Greaves, Lewis, or Mikalenko to get Trent? What do you reckon, Nacho? Greaves, Lewis, or Mikalenko to get Trent?
I probably
all of the above.
Yeah, literally just whichever one you want, really. I mean, probably based on the fixtures, Mikalenko, but of course, double game week for Everton in about 10 weeks' time. So if you want to hold on to then you can. Then I think it would just be probably Greaves, just get it done.
Yeah. Interesting you didn't say Lewis there, which obviously
I think Lewis
and Mo both have Lewis and McGreaves.
I can see why though, because part of me in the back of my mind, maybe this is completely incorrect, Andy. Surely Man City can't stay this bad. I know they've conceded again tonight.
Lost tonight, 2-0.
I know. Is it already 8 or over and they've lost them? Yeah. But I know they're not going to win the league, no problem. But they can't stay this rubbish. And the good fixtures coming up, having a cheap potential City defender. Maybe I'm overthinking that.
It just reminds me of that Mick McCarthy clip. Surely this can't go on, and he goes, it can. Belfast Bunch says, can someone do Hibbo's come on with his accent? We've all missed him tonight. We have missed him tonight. Obviously we've got the lovely Mo on with us, and he's been fantastic, but just for you guys, come on. Zubin says Mitoma, Haaland and Mazwari to Isak, Saka and Trent for a -4. What do you reckon, Mo? Nacho.
You're thinking, I'm thinking, yeah. Saka, was Saka in the in? Saka and Trent in?
He was, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Isak,
too.
Saka and Trent.
Yeah, it's too powerful, yeah. So that's a juicy -4.
Yeah. Frostbolter says, does the mystery chip manager take up a 3-player cap? It does indeed. Simon Caswell, anyone else get the following message today? The operation couldn't be completed. No, I did. No idea. Foregone conclusion. Pick 2 from Cunha, Evanilson, or Pedro. What do you reckon, Nacho?
For this week, then it would be Cunha and Pedro. Long term, well, probably Evan Nielsen and Pedro, probably long term.
No. Eddie Casey, would you do a -4 to go Haaland to Isak and Gordon to Salah? Please let me know. I'm away on holidays in France, Mo.
Yes.
Yeah, I would
Simple.
as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Nacho, last one. Foregone conclusion says, is the return of De Bruyne starting to help Haaland?
I think it will do over the course of the season, but is it enough to keep a £15 million striker right now? I think the answer is going to be no. And no, you shouldn't be buying De Bruyne either because there's too many good midfielders.
And also, yeah, I mean, Haaland's now kind of obsolete because we've got Saka, Palmer, Salah doing it every week, haven't we? So it's kind of hard to go back to him, really. Yeah. Right, lovely stuff. Guys, the stream. It lasted the entire time. The entire time. I'm so happy. It means that I don't have to spend even more money on another laptop. Nacho, thank you so much for joining us again this evening. I hope you enjoyed yourself, my man.
Oh, it's been brilliant. No, quality as always, and always great to catch up with Mo as well.
Yeah. And Mo, thank you so much for joining us. You're always our kind of able deputy ready to step in. You do such a fantastic job when you come in. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. I always enjoy coming on with you guys.
Nah, good man. Obviously, this is the second time lucky, but thank you for bearing with us. Thank you so much for everybody that's in the chat. Thank you for all those people that have joined us. Thank you for all those people as well that are listening on the pod after or listening on YouTube later on as well. We appreciate each and every one of you. We wish you luck. This is a bit of an interesting weekend as well. There's fixtures all over the place. There's Saturday night games, there's Sunday night games, there's a Monday game. So it's a bit all over the place. But we appreciate, we hope that you get some green arrows moving forward. We really, really hope that me and Mo get some greens as well. So we'll be seeing you again at the end of next game week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.